What's going down, everybody? This is Brother Stavanius. Welcome back to Command Center Wargaming. Fantastic, guys. Alright, so today's video, we're going to have a look at some news from the Warhammer universe, also a little bit from the 30k universe. We're going to go over the some of Games Workshop's releases over the past few days. There's a few new releases coming. It should be pretty good. We'll be looking at the Emperor's Spears, which have come out with a Codex expansion. We'll also be looking at some of the new Death Guard models as well. Some of the new Death Guard range that are coming out from GW. They got a whole plethora of new models coming out, or new packages actually, a couple of new models, and then there's a Codex as well, which is looking pretty alright. And yeah, so we'll showcase that. I've got my game with Matt tomorrow of Zone Mortalis with Alpha Legion versus Alpha Legion, which is going to be pretty awesome. So it should be pretty interesting as well. I'll chuck some pics up and have a bit of a chat about it on the channel. Our lists are pretty similar, like they're almost mirror lists actually, which is pretty funny. But yeah, looking forward to it. It should be good. It's his army is very dark Alpha Legion in terms of color, and my army is very bright and contrasty. So it should be a pretty good contrast on the table. So we see how that goes. So yeah, let's take a look first of all. We'll take a look into some Emperor's Spears first. And so, look, the first thing that catches my eye straight away is the pretty fantastically painted minis. Now, more often than not, I'm pretty critical on GW's painting standard, especially when it comes to non-in-house painters. There are a lot of studios, I think, that paint for them. And sometimes they're really great. Other times, I think they miss the mark a bit. One of the schemes I wasn't really into, I can't remember the name of it now. I think it was like Emperor's Lions or something. And it was like blue, red, grey, white. And it's just like 7 or 8 different colours. And it was just like, why are you missing the yellow? Like, why don't you just put some Imperial Fists in there as well? It's like someone who couldn't decide if they were doing Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, Grey Knights, or whatever. And I don't know, I just felt sometimes with colours, when you go a little bit too overboard, it can be a little bit too much, I find. That's just me personally. But sometimes less is more. It's the same with, weathering the Death Guard and things like that. Like you see people, they do your Death Guard armies and they just sit there and they'll just smash it with the brush and just do their dabbing with their broken brush or their sponge, and they'll just hammer the crap out of it to the point where the art, and of the mini painting is actually superseded. All you can see is just a whole bunch of crap all over it. So weathering, in my opinion, should be done, in increments and in key positions on, like for example, top of the greave, where a lot of the bullets might have gone first, or a lot of the weathering might happen down the bottom near the shins, things like that. So it should represent wear and tear and stuff. But anyway, look, I digress. This army here to me looks very fantastically painted army. Kudos to the person who did it. It's taking a scheme that I like because I like blue. However, I feel as though we're going through and we're getting a lot of blue armies. We've already got like so many blue armies, and it's kind of like with the Emperor's Spears, I've always been a little bit sort of critical on them. It's kind of like they just look like ultramarines, a lighter shade of ultramarine. And I think this is good in this Codex supplement in White Dwarf, because it's going to expand on a little bit. They are pretty popular, and it's absolutely fine if you like Emperor's Spears, and that's fine. I mean, that's great. But I can't help but looking at these Marines and just feel that, I don't know, like if it wasn't for the fact that I knew that Emperor's Spears, and it wasn't for the fact of the iconography that's kind of on their little, guard hilts or whatever you call them here, like near their chests, I would just think they're Ultramarines. Like straight up, like when you just look at those, the repulsors in the background. I was going to call them Redeemer, Redemptor, something that starts with R. When you look at those that repulsor in the background, it's kind of like it could be Ultramarine. But I think they've done a really good job here. You've got a lot more weathering and stuff going on than usual. That's another thing with me too. Like, I'm kind of over the edge highlighting. I went through a period where I was really like fanatical about edge highlighting. I felt it looked great. I thought it was awesome. But then I don't know, maybe it was when I got more into the Horus Heresy, and I kind of thought that I like that sort of more sort of weathered look, the weathered, dirtier look. But with that said, once again, it can be taken too far, and also it's pretty Legion dependent. It's like, for example, like you could do weathered Alpha Legion by all means, but Alpha Legion, they're not going to be as dirty as Death Guard. Like same with someone like Emperor's Children, right? Emperor's Children are going to be more regal looking. They're going to be looking after their armor more for the most part, especially in the early Heresy, because they were running around like they took pride in their armor. Whereas someone like the Sons of Horus, and I mean they weren't too dirty, but they got in the mix. Or World Eaters, or Death Guard. Those are some of the Death Guard and World Eaters actually. They were some of the more tatted up legions. They really just didn't give a crap. So I think there was a story as well with Angron, how basically Angron, when the Emperor found him, his armor was just smashed to crap, and that was it. And he didn't bother to update it because he just didn't care. Like he updated it a little bit, but it was he just let it sort of linger. And apparently, like, because in the game, he's actually got a 3-up save, and it's dreaded. Everybody makes fun of it because I believe he's the only Primarch. I think there's one more, maybe Lorgar. I'll have to double check it. But Angron is like the only Primarch with a 3-up save. Everybody's got a 2-up, which is pretty funny. But anyway, on with the show. So yeah, let's have a look at the Emperor's Spears, or Spear of the Emperor. You can see here's a book that's coming out to be announced and pronounced in the White Dwarf. Okay, coming out soon. I might actually get some of these White Dwarves. I started doing it before, but I might do a regular thing where I get the monthly White Dwarf and review it on the channel, just do a flick through. So let me know if that interests you in the comments down below. Let me know how you're going with your hobby as well. That'd be fantastic. And like just let me know in general, like if you want to see any content coming up. I know Locke said I should do like a Battletech versus Titanicus video. I think it's definitely a good idea. And we'll keep it going. So cool. So anyone who's read Aaron Debansky Bowden's Black Library novel Spear of the Emperor will be very much aware of the Stoic chapter of Space Marines. Yet even if they're brand new to you, the good news is that the Emperor's Spears start in their very own Index Astartes in January's issue of White Dwarf. So you can learn all about them. What's more, the article's extensive lore section was written by none other than Aaron himself. Okay, so that's fantastic. He went through in there. He did a bit of a write up for the actual Index Astartes. And once again, look, I think it's pretty awesome. Give these guys a bit of fluff, flesh them out a bit. They're pretty popular. You see people painting them up all the time. Some pretty good converted spears. Give them some fluff. The more fluff we can get, the better. All right, it's fantastic. So we're going to have a look at some tasters of the actual installment. And don't expect it to be very massive. There's probably just going to be like the Blood Ravens expansion, where it's just, or even the dreaded Death Watch expansion, where it's just a few pages. Oh, I don't know about that one, guys. That was a bit of a fizzer. But anyway, all good. So the Warlords of Nematone. The chapter planet of the Emperor's Spears is Nematone, and the Index Astartes reveals more about their lush green homeworld. It explores why this storm world was chosen as a stronghold from which the chapter could recruit and perform the solemn duty for which it had been founded: to serve among the Adeptus Valari, the Sentinels of Vale. Okay, fantastic to see here. Bit of an overview of their planet. Okay, a bit of a storm-stricken sort of jungle planet, which is pretty cool. A little bit kind of like Endor with rain, I suppose you could call it. Would have been nice though. It seems a little bit generic. I do get the generic vibe from these guys, I must admit. But they're okay. They're just that kind of legion, You have sort of more specialist legions, more sort of unique legions with more ornamentation. And then you have, your cookie cutter legions, ultramarines kind of thing, vanilla marines. This is a vanilla marine. This is for the vanilla marine people. It's like, if you like your blue shade a little bit lighter, then you can, you want to add some fur and some pelts around them and stuff like that, then you can go with the spears, So, fantastic. So, Nematone itself is populated by tribes of feral barbarians. Sounds good to me. But, what a planet to recruit space marines from, right? Fantastic. Whose harsh living conditions and warlike ways make them perfect aspirants for recruitment into the chapter. Well, that's usually the story, because it's pretty much every recruiting world has the same story. Barbarians or criminals or something like that, or terror itself. So, yeah, anyway. However, the lore reveals that the spears of the Emperor have a rather uneasy bond with the clans of Nematone. Okay, so here we have a little bit of a spiel here. So the ghosts of Nematone, the clans of Nematone have a strained relationship with the Space Marine chapter that watches over them. To the barbarians, service in the God Emperor's armies is no honor to be fought for. It is a death sentence. That's pretty interesting. Those who ascend to the shrouded heavens must abandon their natural lives in order to live as inhuman angels. Space Marines on Nematone are not seen as warriors from the clans returned to honor their bloodlines, but as the spirits of children lost to the whims of fate. Reshaped past their humanity, they are not heroes to be celebrated, but ghosts to be mourned. That's a little bit depressing, isn't it? Why not celebrate them as heroes? Anyway, we'll keep going with that. So the Adeptus Valari, fans of the Celestial Lions may know about the vast region of scattered worlds from the Alara's Veil. This subsector had initially been under the chapter's sole stewardship, a thankless task which their proud warriors had long been hard-pressed to perform alone. Eventually, the Celestial Lions were reinforced with 2 new chapters from the 25th, or Bastion, founding to aid them. The Star Scorpions and the Emperor's Spears, creating the Adeptus Valaria. I think that's how you pronounce it, but yeah. Awesome. Celestial Lions. Wasn't that one of the the Pirate Space Marine Legion that broke off? Red Corsairs? Wasn't that weren't the Red Corsairs spin-offs of the Celestial Lions? Like the Celestial Lions, they had, like, I think it was a Badab War or something, where they had that incident. Anyway, whatever. And basically one of the, I think it's Harrion Blackheart or something from the Chaos Space Marines. Anyway, might be wrong there, but let me know in the comments down below. Might be thinking about someone different. But suffice to say that things didn't go especially well for the Star Scorpions, and the Celestial Lions fared little better when an inquisitional purge all but decimated their chapter. Yeah, I think this is part of it. I think that's part of that lore. Yet despite the ill fate of their fellow Valari, the Emperor's Spears remain undaunted, staying true to their vow to defend Alara's Veil. Those are just a few of the tidbits of lore that you'll be able to read about in the upcoming Index Extartes, and we haven't even mentioned the rules yet. Codex supplement rules. So here we have an example rule. I have my thoughts of it. It's pretty. It's okay. It's okay. Look, I mean, you don't expect much when it comes from these supplements, but I don't know. It's not very strong. It's okay. It's decent. It's better than nothing. Yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments down below if you're actually an Emperor's Spear player. Okay. But this is the rule here. So we have the Redden the Earth. So warriors from the Storm World Nematone are tattooed headhunters, chanting funeral dirges as they bloody their blades in the ceaseless warfare that rages through their protectorate. Add 1 to the advance rolls and charge rolls made for units with this tactic. That's okay. I mean, it's helpful. I don't think it's a massive game changer, but it's okay. Like, one off the charge roll, it's definitely nothing to be sneezed at. Okay, so I mean, they're no Iron Hands or Blood Angels, but the Black Templars, I believe, these guys sort of resemble the Black Templars a little bit with their rules. But anyway, each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack, if the model's unit made a charging move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit. Now, it doesn't say anything about, further hits rolled on a 6 don't cause any more additional hits, but I would imagine that would be the case. It just hasn't sort of been explained here. It's kind of like lightning blows in the Horus Heresy with the custodes, where 6s basically are additional hits. I mean, when you think about it, you have a 10-man squad of these guys. You're going to be charging, at some point. I mean, there's a fair bit of melee with this army as well. You're getting bonus to your charge, so you're more likely to get in. And then, you're basically going to be rolling a couple of 6s. On average, out of 10 guys, if you have even say maybe 20 attacks with them, you're going to roll at least statistically 3 or 4 6s. Okay, so I think that's pretty strong. Not on its own, but in synergy with the adding +1 to the charge rolls. You put those two rules together, you stack them together, and I think it's pretty decent. Yeah, it's a pretty decent rule. Okay, so yeah. And you don't have to wait long now, etc., etc., etc. So you'll be able to pick up the White Dwarf yourself from Games Workshop. But yeah, that's the gist. So let me know in the comments down below if you're excited about the Spears of the Emperor or Emperor's Spears. I think that they're, if you've got any Ultramarines, you don't want to play Ultramarines anymore, you want to try something different, you could definitely go through and just, shave some of that iconography off, or the decals off, and create some Emperor's Spears. But, each to their own. Fantastic. All right, so next up on the list, we'll take a look at the Death Guard. So this was a Sunday preview. It's a few days old now, but I haven't covered it yet, so we'll go through it. You can see that they got their new Codex here. Some fantastic art on the front featuring Mortarion. Always liked the Mortarion model. Really, really liked it from the beginning, and I've got it. Haven't finished painting it yet. But there's going to be some new rules coming out for these guys as well, which is going to be pretty fantastic. So let's take a look at this. So this beautiful tome is stuffed to the sores, with no pun intended, stuffed to the sores with brand new lore, art, and rules, just waiting to spread death and disease across the tabletop. For the truly faithful, there's even an awe-inspiring collector's edition to display proudly on your bookshelf, featuring a luxurious soft-touch cover and foil blocking. Oh, I don't know. Hope it's not filled with pus, but anyway, it's probably going to cost like $300 from GW, but whatever. So keep all of the new profiles close hands so you can focus on doing what the Death Guard do best with this new set of data cards. They're perfect for a quick reference in the heat of battle, or when you don't want to lower your collector's edition codex down to its pedestal. So these cards I'm a little bit mixed on. I bought heaps of these card decks in 8th edition, and what I found is that I just used the Codex anyway half the time because I was bringing it. We were going through that whole thing where we had to use like 4 or 5 books and an FAQ at a time. So I was carrying 5 tomes of rules, and then also, I was like, well, I'm not going to carry some blooming cards around as well, am I? And even though you've got the cards, it's not going to have every single thing in there. So I'm a little bit mixed on the cards. I think for a collection purpose, I think it's good. If you're a really, really massive Death Guard buff, grab them. But I think I'm going to be skipping out on the cards in the future, to be honest, guys. I've got so many in that little tub up the back there. And the problem I found is by the time I went to use them, they were out of date. Or the codex shifted, or the meta changed. So I'd probably save my money, get some extra paint. So, spend an extra couple of dollars, $20, $30, or however much it is on some paint. Get some extra lead belcher, get some extra Nurgle's Rot, or whatever it is you're using to paint your stuff up. I wouldn't really worry about the cards, but let me know in the comments down below what you think. Each to their own. You might like the cards. If you really like the cards, let me know in the comments. Tell me why. It'd be fantastic to hear why from all my epic subscribers. If you're not part of the channel yet, consider subscribing. Fantastic. So then we've got the Combat Patrol box. Now this is a fantastic box, I will say. The Chosen of Nurgle arrive in force to spread the virulent plagues of their devout grandfather with a brand new combat patrol box set packed with everything you need to begin your campaign of Contagion in the 41st millennium. Typhus, awesome character. Herald of Nurgle and his Plague Marines oversee a shambling horde of Poxwalkers, accompanied by a Biologus Purifier, Biologus Purifier, who couldn't be happier to hurl his many, many blight grenades into the foe's ranks. So, very fantastic box there. I don't know how much it would be. I'm assuming you're probably looking at around 150 AUD. I need to check up on the prices. Generally they go through around about that sort of 150, probably about like $100-ish US mark. They're all roughly the same price, depending on how many models are in there. But you generally always do save, if I can use that word, save. I don't know how much you actually save buying plastic for like hundreds of dollars, but yeah, you do save a little bit by buying the packs. You always save a little bit by buying the packs. Now I have got an array of Death Guard, so I'm probably going to miss out on this one. But if you're just looking at getting Death Guard, this is probably a fantastic option for you. If you're looking to expand your army, it's also fantastic because you've got all the Poxwalkers in there. And, you know, we definitely need those Poxwalkers. You also got Marines as well. Death Guard are solid on the tabletop, 9th edition as well. Okay, and I dare say with their updated rules, they're probably going to be even more better. Okay, even more competitive. So we've got this new Terminator here as well, which I'm a bit mixed on. I kind of like it, but I think I've seen better. I like the Terminator armor. I like the fact it's kind of a mix between Taratos armor, kind of a mix of Cataphracti armor. It's a little bit in between. I kind of get a little bit of a sort of vibe from both of them. So the lower half, I get more of a Cataphracti vibe. The upper half, I get more of a Taratos vibe. Not Taratos, Dominus vibe. A little bit Taratos as well. I think... I don't know what's going on with that pus sack there. I think it's overdoing it a bit. The helmet, I kind of see what they were going for, but I just don't think it completely appeals to me. And then we've got the usual sort of Triarch of Nurgle on his shoulder. You've got your little sort of organ pipes or whatever on the back where they blow the smoke out. But that's the kind of stuff that you get with Death Guard models. Death Guard models are very busy models, and I think it's a good mix. I think I said Dominus before. I meant Indominus. But yeah. Anyway, you got a spike on there as well, which is stock standard. You can't have a Chaos Space Marine without having a spike on his shoulder, right? So it's fantastic. We've also got some terrain coming out for Papa Nurgle. Okay, it kind of looks a bit like a happy smoking pipe, which I find pretty funny. I wonder if that's an in-joke. I won't talk about that anymore on the channel, but I'm pretty sure anyone who's over the age of 18 might know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I digress. And then we got some more models here. So more reinforcements. 3 champions in the one box by the looks of it. So essential set of 3 champions. That's perfect for adding a few new faces to your warband. I've got both of those dudes. They came out with the Dark Imperium box, and I believe they both came with it. If not, I picked them up somewhere else, some other starter box or whatever it is. I'm missing this Marine, but I'm probably not too keen to buy this pack just for the one Marine, even though he is really cool. But once again, if you don't have them or you need more and you need to paint and you need to expand your army or maybe a gift, it's a pretty fantastic way of getting some heroes going on in that box there. We've got some art. So it looks like some framed art there. Signed framed art, which is pretty fantastic. We've got a new Poxwalker box. We've got some Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings models. I don't really cover that here on this channel at all. I shout them out now and then when there's like, when there's a new release. I heard off one of the guys that basically the whole Lord of the Rings tabletop was basically started by a dude who was just obsessed with it at GW, and even though it doesn't sell as well, like they just keep it going because there's like one guy who just keeps playing it and keeps doing it. But like kudos to GW, keeping up with the their word, I suppose. Keeping the models going. They start a game, they start a system, their players invest into the game, and then they keep going with it. So we've got some more Lord of the Rings models, okay? Some wraiths and things like that. I'm just going to skip past this a little bit. Some Necromunda, okay? Some Firecats, which are pretty cool. These will work good in 40k as well, I reckon. Proxy it in for some models. You might be able to do some really cool Space Wolf conversions, Cyber Wolf conversions with these, which are really awesome. And then we got some Nightlord Terminators from Forge World. Finally, awesome. I remember these debut. We're still waiting on also the Word Bearers, guys. The Praetor Word Bearers, Praetor, I believe, and the Champion. Like a year ago, they put it up on their announcements. I did a review on the channel. I had someone like message me like 2 weeks ago, and they're like, Stevanius, like, when are they bringing this out? My God, and it's been ages, so it's such a shame. I really wish they'd put a little bit more effort in the Horus Heresy. I don't want to become one of those whingers, but it's such a bloody good game. It's such an epic game, guys. I really encourage anybody who's into the 40k, if you want to try something out, even just use 40k models, check out some Horus Heresy. It's just really good. Okay, so yeah. So the Elite Shock Troops of the Nightlords will be up for pre-order for fans of the Horus Heresy next Friday. These Terminators are butchers and murderers of a high order and will make light work of any who stand in their way. A little bit busy, but once again, it comes with the Nightlords. They've got a lot of scaled flesh and skin and everything going on. You've got a sort of like an arm-mounted Volkite cannon there, which is interesting. Another one there. Okay, so yeah, it's like chain glaives, I believe, and stuff like that. And this guy's standing on some guts or a brain or something. So yeah, cool models to paint. I noticed there's not as much lightning on these guys though, which is interesting. Would have been cool to see a little bit of lightning on there. I mean, we've got some lightning on the greaves. Could have had some lightning on these shoulder pads, but I guess it's up to us. It's up to us to paint them that way. And then we go through the Black Library books, which we covered in another video. We went through the Alfarius one specifically. And that's about it. So yeah, so GW once again, slamming the releases. We've just done a bit of an overview today, and I'll get another video up very soon. And I'll probably leave this video there, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know any feedback down below in the comments, and I will catch you next time. Happy wargaming, everybody. Stevanius out, and I'll let you know how my game goes, my Zoe Mortalis game goes tomorrow. Peace out.